When news broke in 2013 about a group of army men calling themselves the Jedi Council sharing disgusting images of women, the military condemned it. You might remember the famous video by the then Army Chief, David Morrison, that went viral. That response helped lead to him being named Australian of the Year. Now, a confidential police report obtained by 7:30 sheds more light on the story of the Jedi Council. The report reveals some of the men targeted weren't as involved as first thought, and it alleges that defence lied and withheld evidence. It also suggests the office of David Morrison knew about the scandal a year before the Chief of Army went public. As Dylan Welch reports, the matter has taken a huge toll on one of the men accused and his family.
Carl's downstairs. The last time he went downstairs was the night that he tried to kill himself.
In her darkest moments, Rose Dubsky kept a video diary.
I'm really scared if I go to sleep. I wake up and find him dead.
She was struggling to keep her husband, Karel, alive.
I just couldn't do it without him. I can't do it. He just misses him so much.
Two years earlier, Karel Dubsky was a successful army officer.
I loved it. I loved the military, and I still recommend, even now, for people to join.
After 24 years in the army, he walked away months after being publicly named as one of a group of soldiers sharing pornography and other inappropriate images on classified defence computer networks.
Tonight we lift the lid on the so-called Jedi Council scandal engulfing our armed forces.
My family was vilified. I couldn't walk anywhere without feeling that people in the military were talking about me. The women whom I would have in the army that I would have died for were turning their back on me.
A month after the scandal broke, he was removed from command of his unit and threatened with being thrown out of the army entirely.
And so by the time I moved on to my next job, I obviously wasn't kicked out. I broke down in March of 2014 and I didn't want to be here anymore. And tried to kill myself.
Karel Dubsky was one of three men publicly identified in media reports.
It just wasn't me, and I felt crushed. I felt like everything I believed in was gone.
The standard you walk past is the standard you accept.
Chief of Army David Morrison promised to show no mercy on the men involved.
On all operations, female soldiers and officers have proven themselves worthy of the best traditions of the Australian Army. They are vital to us maintaining our capability now and into the future. If that does not suit you, then get out.
I think his speech was brilliant because I believed everything he said, but to be included as the person which he was aiming the speech at was an act of betrayal for me because I was not involved.
I will be ruthless in ridding the army of people who cannot live up to its values.
The saga began for Karel Dubsky a few months before David Morrison's speech.
In March 2013, I had a phone call from the New South Wales Police. It was out of the blue. A gentleman, a detective inspector, rang me up and he just said to me, "What do you know about the Jedi Council?"
He learned he was one of 17 men who'd received emails that contained pornography and video of consensual sex with a Melbourne woman, which was filmed without her knowledge.
My role was that I received an email in 2010 from a private contractor whom I had met 12 years previously.
He accepts he must have received it, but he is adamant he did not open it.
When this email arrived, I was away on a business trip. When I returned, I had hundreds and hundreds of emails. It is likely that, being an email that was not work-related, I dismissed it or ignored it and deleted it. My father would send me private emails on my work address and I wouldn't even reply to him.
When he took the call from the New South Wales Police in 2013, he had no idea Defence had been aware of the case for more than 2 years.
I never got the opportunity to sit down and speak to a proper investigative team. There was no investigation done.
Karel Dubsky wasn't the only one who felt the Defence investigation was inadequate. 730 has obtained a confidential New South Wales Police report on the Jedi Council investigation. It states Defence investigators deliberately lied, withheld evidence, fabricated information and supported the conduct of criminal and serious internal offences. John Sutton represented 2 men investigated over the Jedi Council affair.
I was very disappointed with the investigation, given that it wasn't focused where it should have been, and the way that it ruined the lives of at least 2 people that I personally dealt with. And I'm well aware of a number of other military personnel who lost their jobs and their careers, and some of whom have tried to take their lives as a result of it.
Morrison maintains he became aware of the Jedi Council affair in April 2013 and acted promptly. The police report suggests his office did know, stating that on 31 July 2012, a senior member of David Morrison's office was told about the case and replied, "I think the Chief of Army needs to know about it. I will tell him." The police report also alleges a daily briefing document for Morrison from that time and which contained information on the scandal was never provided to police.
Beggars belief, I think, given the knowledge of senior people inside the headquarters, that it had not come to the attention of the High Command.
David Morrison declined to be interviewed for this story. Defence says the matter is closed and affected individuals can take their concerns to the Ombudsman or the courts.
Those who think that it is okay to behave in a way that demeans or exploits their colleagues have no place in this army.
The person behind the Chief of Army's YouTube address was his then speechwriter, Kate McGregor.
With hindsight, I've got great regrets about it. I've seen the human damage that has been inflicted by this matter and the way it's been handled. I've met 3 officers who lost their careers, all of whom were good young men, and I've come to know them a bit.
In the months after David Morrison's speech, Karel Dubsky received letters from the Chief of Army and the Chief of Defence clearing him of membership of the so-called Jedi Council.
In Carl's case, I believe he was entirely innocent, basically. There was just no cause for him to go through the process that he's been put through.
Lieutenant Colonel Dubsky and his family's lives were destroyed when he was falsely accused of being a member of the Jedi Council.
I showed you some of this information the other day.
Tasmanian Senator Jackie Lambie has recently taken up Karel Dubsky's cause. He's left waiting for a public apology from Defence, which won't be coming anytime soon.
I just want to be back. I just want to go home and be with my family and not think about this anymore.
Dylan Welch with that report.